What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Galakai here. I title self-explanatory what I want to talk about. Here are my thoughts on Sony discontinuing physical discs. Now, just a little history. I've been playing PlayStation for a very long time. Um, I don't like to say fanboy, but I mean, if I guess if the shoe fits, whatever. It's been my primary console for a very long time in my life. I could remember as early as having a PS1. PS2, 3, PSP, PS Vita. I did a lot with Sony. I had a lot of Sony devices. I never like really stuck to it, like as in like like some people are like, oh, it's Sony or die. Like I had Xboxes, I have Nintendo products, I have a PC, I have different things, but it was always my comfort zone, my comfort space. But anyway, besides that out the way, that was really quick and brief. Uh, PlayStation blog posted July 1st, physical disc production ending January 28th for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. Um, in response to shifting trends and consumer excuse me, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. Just to make that make sense, they're saying that there's no disc obviously in the cases. There would just be a case, a code, and that's it, which is to me kind of stupid because if you're gonna go one all in, you might as well go completely. I don't know. I don't know. That's crazy. As consumer preferences and the broader entertainment industry continues to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 28th. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital format only. This transition has no impact on games that are already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in this format. All right. Just that alone is crazy. Very I don't know. I don't want to say they're desensitized to the situation. Very airheaded on the current economy we're all facing right now with just how things going. Shutting down a huge factory that produces all of these is crazy of its own because there's people that probably rely on the wages to feed their families and friends and whatever and themselves. um to say that the industry is shifting away from physical discs is interesting to me because obviously the data does show. I'm not sitting here and gonna lie, it's convenient to buy digital. That's just makes sense. But it's just like, why now and why so soon? And 2028, I don't care what anybody says, that's soon as heck. Like, most things will say like, oh, by 2030, 2035, something like that. It's not better, but it would give us at least a little bit more time to kind of cherish what we have and try to build up as much as we can. But January 28 is very close. We are less than 6 months. What, 6 months in this year left? One more year. That's quick. Um, I don't know. That's insane to me. What did it say right here? New games will be available on PlayStation Store and retails at a digital format. I already explained the digital format part being just a disc with a code. This is another part that's a red flag. Available on the PlayStation Store, right? Not a problem in your head at first when you think about it, but if only at the store, that means the discounts are heavily curated. Did I say that right? I think I did. Whatever. Heavily created for them to dictate the price. So if they want to make, for example, Black Ops 1 and 2, which I know is a very sensitive topic to some, if the game is 20 bucks now, goes back to 40, and then they release it on their store, they could say it's $60 again. Who's for you to say, oh, I can't change that price? You are stuck on that console to buy whatever they tell you to. I mean, you could wait, right? You could wait for the price to drop, but who's to say they're gonna let the price to drop? I feel like this is in a way a weird monopoly on there, man. I don't understand how this is just something that they're. I mean, I understand it's their brand and they're allowed to do whatever they want. That's their brand, but it's just like it's crazy to think as like the higher ups to be like, this is a good idea. This is very anti-consumer, like hardcore. Like usually it's a 50-50, maybe, like we win a 20%, they win the 80, but this is big time like bad for us. Um that's crazy. Like think about that. Last of Us could be 60-70 bucks for the rest of its life. Who's to say? And what? They give you a 5, 10, 10%. That's it. And you have to buy whatever they say. Um Other than like some people that have to have the game the day one, which that's its own issue or not, depending on, because I'm not getting into everybody's pockets. Everybody's pockets different, but for myself and others, the whole point of physical is the fact that you can buy, own something. At least for me, I like the tangible. I know I don't own the game. I'm hearing that so much all over the place. You don't own nothing. Yes, we understand that, but I have the disc. I am able to trade the disc. I'm able to let someone borrow the disc. That is a big thing for me. That's a factor for me. And the fact that I could have a beautiful library. I don't want a library of games that just have codes in that. Believe it or not, I actually have about a couple few games that are like that, but they weren't real games. I don't know if you guys ever remember the Apex stupid thing they did where they put the code in there for stuff. Anyway, besides the point. Yeah, this is not gonna be cool for a lot of people. I feel like this is gonna price a lot of people out of the console. But let's keep going, reading. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumers' trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. The transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. Bad. It's like sitting there reading it. It's like, anyway, um, let's unpack a little bit of this. Yes, the trend is generally digital. I mean, quite frankly, that's obvious. Like I said, once again, convenience. It's big time convenience, right? A lot of people don't want to wait for it. A lot of people sometimes get forced to buy digital and then have to buy physical later. That's sometimes somebody's options, right? Um, this is the part that's interesting. The transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access the game. Now, correct, maybe most likely, this is probably no lie. They are aligning closely to those, but there are still people that like to own the disc. It's just like that. There are still people that like to trade in their stuff. I tell you one thing, think about this. You ever, when you're buying the next generation console, you trade everything in to buy it? So hypothetically speaking, from PS6, PS5 to PS6 or whatever, if I'm getting my PS5 games and I want to sell them to the next console, I can't. So I'm just selling the hardware, which, like I said, whatever. The hardware typically ain't going to cover the price of the next console. And being that we're rumored that this next Sony device is going to be $1,000, I need all the savings I can. You know, just respectfully, that's just how I feel about it. I usually trade some games, if not, this is the really the first generation I really didn't trade much because PS4 to PS5 was convenient to me because they had the whole thing with the 4 to 5, kind of like Xbox Play Anywhere thingy. So that's why it was a little different for me. But when I was a little younger, I'm an adult now. I didn't have much money, so that's what I used to do. And that's another thing. People like us, like me, younger, they don't have the accessible money like that. So most parents would be like, hey, well, let's trade your old stuff because you're not going to play for the new thing. That used to be a thing. You can't do that in this future that they're trying to create. That's crazy. It's just, that's wild to me that this is something that they're even like I said, thinking of doing and just see no problem with it. That's insane. Um, let's continue. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation to how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether that's at retailers or PlayStation Store. We remain committed to delivering a world-class game experience to our fan, and we thank you for your continued support. Yeah, this is a piece of bull. This is all bull, and no, I did not like it. There's no dislike button. Hell, that's kind of funny. I can't dislike it. This is crazy. Don't be a jerk. I'm gonna look at the comments in a second. Um, yeah, no. Innovation to digital is straight, whatever. But Blu-rays, DVDs, music. What's the thing that music people do? People that are big into music, not as much as me, but bigger. Apple Music is convenient. Spotify is convenient. YouTube Music is convenient. But you know what's better that they like? That's real good. They like to own the vinyls. They like to own the CDs. They have a CD player. They have a vinyl player. I mean, some of these people even have a what would be a cast? Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. But most people have those to listen to the music when they're fans. If I am a fan of the music, I'm gonna get a vinyl. You know what I mean? I know family members that bought vinyls for albums still to this day. Vinyls haven't been into how long? You know, like now vinyls are like, pretty much fans of, or, people that want to preserve the art and stuff. But vinyls have its own unique sound. Now, I'm not going to say gaming does have its own uniqueness to that as far as that goes. I mean, the game is pretty much one to one. I think the only thing that a game disc holds versus a digital is the fact that when you used to be able to play offline, the game will have the original stuff. And then, the day one update will happen, and that's when a change will happen. So I guess that's kind of the only, maybe the benefit of that, and that part of it. But it's crazy to me that innovation is taking away big time. Like there's no way we could get our physicals. That's that's crazy. Like I, I feel like they should have thought of an alternative that we can win some, and they win great. And here's another thing that this is not on this part, but just something I was just thinking about. The thing is, games used to, people, big argument was saying that games should offer, digital should be cheaper than physical. Well, that's cool. If physical's gone and digital's there, and we see these greedy companies are still charging 60, still charging 70, charging 80, 100, if you know, you know. Um, that's not fair. This is a digital console, right? Where's my discount? And if that's going up, and then we already have to pay for membership for all of these besides PC, shout out Steam, shout out PC. Um, that's insane again, because now you could basically say, hey, to play on this console, it's cost $200 a year. To buy these games, they are not discounted, and it costs $80. How is that fair to the consumer at all? I have no way. I have to basically take whatever you're feeding me. That's not fair. Now I know companies do not give a hell. I get that, but this is not something people should be okay with. This is something people have to stand for, or not stand for, excuse me, and stand up and do our best to show Sony, no, this is not what we want. Now they have to figure out something. It's not their job is to get us to purchase things, not for us to be sheep. Our job is to be a good consumer, practice being a good consumer, and to know when to buy and when not to buy. To know when to we get a good deal out of it, because at the end of the day, our hard-earned money, we have to work hours for our money. This is hard work, and I know technically speaking, gaming is not an essential. I get that. But to some people growing into it, it is. It's freedom and stuff like that. Gaming's getting to the point where it's so priced out of our pockets. This console's rumored to be $1,000. The services are rumored to go up. Excuse me. These games are rumored to go 80, 100. We're in an odd world that we're in, and so that's just the things that I don't quite frankly understand why. But it's it's just crazy. Let's go into these comment sections. I want to look into a couple of these guys real quick. I'm just curious. I hope there's nothing crazy that's gonna get me messed up in YouTube. I'm not gonna say names because I'm not gonna acknowledge that, but yeah, very disappointing. Do not like this. I always prefer physical over digital. Terrible news. Game collecting, literally on nothing, but the license is horrible. Yeah, no one's liking this, man. I don't know what this guy said. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I also believe this is how expensive hardware is getting. They're gonna have people lease their consoles instead of owning it. I mean, that's the big thing, right? Companies want us to own nothing and subscribe to everything. That's what the world wants us to be. We're not supposed to own anything anymore. It's always gonna happen. Please at least continue to produce collectors. And then, all right, I don't know what this. This guy's kind of giving in. Sorry, buddy, calling you out. Sad times, yes. Well, every new generation of PlayStation that released looks like the PS6 is where I sadly end. Hey, that's something I said. I'll be I'll be a mini PC under my TV. It's much cheaper in the generation. Um, I made my PC right before COVID, so I got lucky. I made a pretty beefy PC, so I'm good. I'm ready. Horrible decision, but what can we expect from a company at this point? Yeah, man, it's not looking good in the Sony camp, man. It's not looking good for anybody. It's not looking good for the kid that got a PlayStation last Christmas because he his parents decided to buy him the best version of the best console. So, moving on from that though, but we, we got petitions. I mean, this is beautiful. Like I said, we got some guys on the defense force trying. Um, I don't think it's enough. I really don't. I don't think any of this is enough. So I sure hope eventually we can figure out a way to I don't know, maybe they'll I can't even say if they'll revert because at this time it's just say I think I saw articles before saying that it doesn't matter if a million people stop playing Sony for the rest of their life or canceled. They're going to do whatever. And that's just not what good PR. That's not something you want to hear. So I hope, man, I hope that something could change with this. I hope that, they can figure out something, a middle ground or anything. But as of right now, this is crazy. This is insane. Yeah, I for many people, R.I.P. Sony, R.I.P. all this. This is insane. I don't think anybody wanted this. I don't think this is good for nobody. So, well, besides Sony, they're the only pieces playing and winning on this one. So, um, that's all my thoughts. That's what I wanted to talk about. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Galakai, I'm changing the format a little bit with these videos, so please let me know how you like it. Leave a like if you like, you know what, and if you dislike it. Hey, that's feedback. I need feedback. So, catch y'all elsewhere. Thank y'all, and goodbye.